fight fans, welcome back to Casuals. I'm Alec, alongside me is co-host Carlos, and in this video we'll be previewing UFC 262's main card, Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. Let's get right into it. All right, man, we're back. MMA, Saturday night. If you're a fighting fan, you live in Texas, Texas knows how to throw down. Last week, 70K fans in Jerry's World in Dallas. This week, Houston, sold out crowd, UFC 262 pay-per-view event. What do you think, man? Gonna be a fun night?
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be just as fun as 261 was. You'll have a lot of rowdy fans in the stadium, a lot of good fights, and on top of that, it's like we saw in 261, you know, early limb fights, prelim fights, bouts you would not expect to go crazy will go wild because you know, these fighters are now going back to crowds are hyping them up, and they're just going at it. So I think it'll be another fun night. And on top of that, we have some great fights on the main card. My favorite being Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Daruish.
Pump the brakes.
And you got another banger with Barbosa versus Burgos, which will just be a stand and bang brawl, which will be fun to see. And then, of course, finally seeing some new title challengers in the 155 division. You know, no more Khabib, he's retired, and now you got Oliveira versus Chandler.
Yeah, like you said, great matchups, good prelims, interesting fights on here. Main card is what we're gonna cover. Let's start off right now with Shane Burgos and Edson Barbosa. All right, so Shane Burgos 13-2. He's the favorite in this fight, -130, versus Edson Barbosa, who's 21-9. He's the underdog at +110. Oh man, I mean, interesting fight. It's gonna be stand and bang, like you said. They're gonna keep this on the feet. Let's go over the last couple of fights between both fighters. So Shane Burgos got a split decision win over Cub Swanson, landed 134 strikes in a 3-round fight. His next win was against Marcin Przybyłowicz, got the TKO win, 105 strikes. So you can see a pattern here. This guy's definitely a high volume fighter. He throws a lot. And then his next fight, he takes an L against Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett lands 127 strikes against him, and he knocks him down twice. So Shane Burgos, he gets back up. He can take a lot of damage. He's a tall, both these gentlemen are tall 145ers. Both 5'11". I don't know how they make that weight cut. It's insane. They're at least coming into this match 160, maybe 165. Let's move on to Edson Barbosa. So Edson Barbosa, he's had a little bit, he's on the not that much luck on his side. He lost to Justin Gaethje in round 1. He faces Paul Felder next, a split decision loss, good back and forth match. That's at lightweight. He tries his luck at featherweight. He's like, you know what, getting too old for these bigger fighters, let me move down to featherweight. He faces Dan Ige. It's another split decision loss. And then his last win was against Marcin Przybyłowicz. So Barbosa, trying to find himself at featherweight. He's a crafty veteran. He has great leg kicks, a lot of heart. He's a technical fighter. Who do you got winning this fight, Carlos?
Well, this fight is probably going to be one of my fight of the night contenders. Anytime Burgos or Barbosa ever fight, it's always a banger. It usually doesn't go the distance. Someone gets hurt, someone gets knocked out. Just always fun fights to watch. You know, mentioning the records, Barbosa is 2-4 in his last 6, and he's really been reeling lately, struggling. I'm not sure if it's, you know, a lot of his struggle was in lightweight. You know, maybe his power just wasn't translating during those losses. I mean, he lost to Khabib, he lost to Felder, which the Felder fight was really razor thin close actually, and many people believe he actually won that fight. But then, you know, he gets finished by Justin Gaethje, which nothing to hang your hat on. Justin Gaethje is a top 5, maybe even top 4, top 3 lightweight. And then you have that tough fight with Dan Ige. And then you got good fight, but takes it to the decision, Marcin Przybyłowicz. And then you got Burgos, who's 4-2 in his last 6. He was able to beat Cub. He had a 3-round war with Josh Emmett, which I don't know how he survived that fight. He got knocked down so many times, so he took a lot of damage. And he's the, what did you say was the favorite odds? I think it was -140 favorite in this fight.
-130.
-130. So it's a tough fight to pick, honestly. It's a toss-up for me. Both these guys pretty much the same size, similar reach, big for the division. But I'm gonna pick Burgos in this for the, I want to say, I'm picking Burgos for the round 2 KO.
Ooh. Just how does he finish? Just by a punch, kick?
I think Burgo puts on the pressure, and as Barbosa's trying to back away, I think he catches him, knocks him out.
That's a good take. Burgos, man, he just throws, like I said, a high volume of strikes, usually 100 plus every other fight. His defense is what gets me in this fight, though. He lacks some defense, and I know Barbosa has been having the best of luck lately, but he's a crafty veteran. I just see him chomping down, like, use your tools. He has great leg kicks. I can see him chomping down at Shane Burgos' legs and taking away his mobility, because Burgos is going to apply a lot of pressure. He's going to want to keep this in the pocket, and he's going to duke it out. If Barbosa has great fight IQ. If he keeps his distance, uses weapons, he made Kevin Lee do the chicken dance, he wobbled him a bit. He has a lot of tools. And like you said, the odds aren't that far off. I mean, yeah, your favorite 130, it's not 200 plus, So I'm gonna go Barbosa here. I think it goes decision. He wants to find himself again at featherweight. This is a great test. Yeah, I got Barbosa in this one. Decision. All right, who we got next on the main card, Carlos?
So next fight we have Chukkagan versus Araujo. We got Chukkagan at a -160 favorite. Some of you have seen her fights. She's big, she's lanky, she's got some power in her shots. But, against top competition, we saw she was finished by Andrade. She was handedly beat by Shevchenko. Look, Chukkagan's 14-4, Araujo's 10-2. Chukkagan can struggle against grapplers, and that's what Araujo is. But this fight, if you want to go on a beer run, you're at a beer. If you're at a drink, you want more steak or more burgers, pizza, want to take a bathroom break, this is the fight to do it. I hate to disrespect the ladies, but in my opinion, this bout has no business being on this main card. It's just not exciting for me. We'll be extremely lucky if we get to see a finish, but this is just not the top of the heap for the women's division. Like, if you want an exciting women's fight, you got to talk Rose, Tatiana Suarez, Nunes, Shevchenko, Andrade, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Weili Zhang, Alexa Grasso. Those are some of the banger fights. Macy Barber, Aspen Ladd, that you get excited for. But WMMA being largely behind men's MMA, is the talent disparity is huge. It's huge. You don't have stacked divisions. You just have top heavy divisions. So unfortunately, this fight is not exciting, guys. It's just not. I'm not going to be interested in this. I'm probably going to be making some popcorn. What about you, Alec?
Yeah, like I said, get your refreshments, making a cocktail, line some shots up with your friends. Look, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about these ladies. I do know this. Chukkagan has fucked me over in DraftKings multiple times, so I don't want her. So I'm taking Araujo. I'll take her any day. I'll probably be making another drink. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just, like you said, if none of those ladies you mentioned are on the main card, I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. I just don't want to see it. So let's just move on. Moving on, we have Matt Schnell, 15-5. He is the favorite here at -155 versus Rogerio Bontorin, 16-3, underdog at 130. Look, this is a great, fun bantamweight matchup. Both guys have speed, pop. They're going to keep this standing, back and forth action. It's a good scrap. I've seen 2 of Matt Schnell's fights. He's a pretty good performer. He's a great fighter. Again, he has a lot of speed. I'm going Matt Schnell in this one.
Yeah, Matt Schnell's got a lot of momentum in this fight. He's 5-1 in his last 6. His last fight being with the very entertaining Tyson Nam. He won a split decision. And Rogerio, he last got KO'd by Kai Kara-France, and he lost to Roy Borg. So he's kind of reeling a little bit, favoring Matt Schnell to win via decision.
Fucking whoops. You lost to Ray Borg. You better go for the other guy. All right. So, co-main, Mr. Champ Shit Only. Tony Ferguson, 26-5, coming in as the underdog. When's the last time we've seen Tony Ferguson come in as the underdog? Plus 140 versus Beneil Daruish, 24-1. He's the favorite, minus 170. I'll let you go first on this one. Who do you think's taking this?
Okay. I cannot believe the disrespect that they're giving to my boy, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, who had a crazy lightweight streak. I believe it was something crazy like 10, 11 wins.
I think it was 11, yeah.
Even 11 wins without losing. He goes on. He they try to schedule this fight between him and Khabib, then it falls through like it always does, because for whatever reason the MMA gods said no, you cannot have Ferguson and Khabib. Fuck you.
Yeesh.
Can't have that fight. So then what happens? Then they try to reschedule the fight. Again, Khabib can't show up because he's stuck in Russia. And Tony, being the weird guy that he is, he makes weight for no reason. And then a few weeks later, you have that fight that Dana offers to him against Gaethje for the interim. And he makes weight again. And Gaethje puts on a striking clinic. You know, credit to Gaethje, credit to Trevor Whitman. He just rails on Tony. And I really wish in that fight, they would have stopped it in the third or in the fourth, because he was just taking so much unnecessary damage. Yeah. I don't know why that happened or why that was led to go on as long as it did. But, you know, unfortunately, that's the way it went. The fifth round, Herb 5K Dean ends it. He saves Tony from getting completely knocked out. You know, he gets wobbled and he's just trying to escape the onslaught that Justin has given him. So then he goes on and he fights Charles Oliveira, who's our main event fighter, our title challenger in this event. And, you know, you just don't see the same Tony. He gets picked up, he gets slammed 3 times, he gets brutally almost submitted once via armbar in the first round, where he was saved by the bell. I'm pretty sure in that sequence, his arm was so hyperextended that it was done. It was cooked from the beginning, from the end of the first round to the end. And from there, you know, Tony, he's a warrior. He's never going to give up. So he stays in that fight. He tries his best. He is able to land some elbows on Charles to bloody him up. But Charles, again, he just picks him up, slams him, controls him on the ground, gives him no room, no breathing room, gives him nothing to win on. I mean, his striking was great. His pressure was great. Something that Tony's known for. It's almost like he stole Tony's soul and became him during that fight. And, you know, as we know, Ferguson gets better throughout the rounds, and that was the case for Oliveira. It was just a shame to see. And now, you know, everyone's saying it's over for Tony. Now you got Beneil Daruish. He's going to pretty much just finish him off. And that's it. You know, Tony should fucking retire, or now he's just a, you know, mid-tier gatekeeper. Listen, Tony, he's an agent of chaos, okay? He needs the crowd. Is it coincidence that the 2 fights he loses in, it's in the pandemic era, there's no crowd? You know, compare it to the Anthony Pettis fight, to the Cowboy fight, to the amazing fights before that, the Kevin Lee fight, where he gets hurt in some of those occasions and he comes back and he gets better throughout the rounds and he eventually finishes the fighter that he's up against. So I'm hoping that's a big factor. But not only that, in the Gaethje fight, the variables surrounding that fight, combined with it's kind of short notice, combined with the weird decision by Tony to cut weight twice within the span of a few weeks. And then on top of that, the really weird decision to only have Eddie Bravo as his corner in that fight, because, you know, at that time UFC was still gaining their footing on how to turn out these events during COVID, so they only had one corner per fighter. And this was just a straight up kickboxing match. What does Eddie Bravo know about striking? Nothing. What is Eddie Bravo's advice during the fight when he's getting pummeled by Justin Gaethje? He's like, hey, you want to try an Eminari roll? And Tony just looks at him just like, and he tries it, man, but it by that point, I mean, it was over. So I think now, that being said, Tony has taken some time off to recover, to possibly fix his mistakes. He's now being coached by famous boxing coach Freddie Roach. Okay. And I've been looking at the embeddeds. He looks in great shape. And I think he comes back and he beats Daruish here. You know, Daruish, credit to him, he's on a 6-fight winning streak. And he's the favorite in this fight. What were the odds, Alec?
170 favorite Ferguson plus 140 underdog. And
he's been KOing people. But in my mind, I feel like Daruish's resume doesn't compare to Tony. I mean, from the point where he got flash KO'd by Alexander Hernandez, where's that guy these days?
Nowhere.
Compared to his big flashy win against Scott Holtzman Where's he at compared to his
Everywhere.
win? Compared to his win with Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose, the guy who got TKO'd in the face-offs versus Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, I don't know. And on top of that, Daruish, his last fight against Diego Ferreira, he went to a split decision. It was a close fight, and he struggled against Ferreira, someone who has cardio issues, as we saw last week against Gillespie. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that Tony is going the route of like Cowboy, where he's just going to get finished, 5-6 times in a row, and he's just going to retire just horribly. No, I think Tony is 1 or 2 wins away from title contention. I think he gets this win, and he's right back in it. He's right back at the top of the heap. I think he beats Daruish, probably by decision.
You see, you're wrong.
Oh.
And here's why. You mentioned Freddie Roach. Respect. Hall of Famer. Big Freddie Roach fan.
Manny Pacquiao. Okay.
Yes.
GSP.
But guess what? You know who he's also helped train? Your boy Ben Askren.
Okay, first of all, he's not my boy. Never my boy, guys. Never my boy. Second of all, I'm going to retort real quick to Ben Askren. Ben Askren has as much striking experience as I do, okay? Ben Askren does not strike. So you cannot, as good as Freddie Roach a coach is, you cannot train somebody who does not strike at all against a boxer, regardless of whether it's against Jake Paul or not. Jake Paul at least has been striking for more than 2 years compared to Ben Askren, who doesn't. And is an older guy who's had hip surgery. No, this is apples to oranges. You cannot make this comparison.
Okay.
He's the exception.
You're still wrong. And here, okay, I'm kidding. I have a big respect for Ferguson. He went on an 11-fight, crazy win streak for years without losing, like you said. But given off his last couple of performances, I mean, those 2 fights he had against Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira were kind of hard to watch. It's not the Ferguson we know. Just going off a couple of his fights. Yes, he got a great win against Anthony Pettis, round 2 TKO, against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, TKO, doctor stoppage, round 2 as well. But that Gaethje fight, man, that was hard to watch. It should have been stopped in the 4th round. It stopped in the 5th, TKO. 5K Herb Dean's like, all right, 5th round, easy. I'm calling this. Made it to the 5th. He absorbed 143 strikes. 100 of those alone were all to the head. And these aren't just pity-pat jabs. Some of these are Justin Gaethje's bombs. Hard, heavy hooks, straight rights. It was hard to watch. Anyways, moving on, we go to Charles Oliveira fight. Oliveira takes down Ferguson 3 times, and Ferguson doesn't have an answer for his takedowns. And like you said, he almost got submitted. When have we ever seen a Ferguson fight where he almost gets submitted in the 1st round? It's just crazy. His striking wasn't there. Oliveira torched him up, landed more. He outstruck Ferguson. It's just not the Ferguson we know. Now, I do respect him trying to make some adjustments. Going to Freddie Roach, learning his, tuning up his boxing a little bit, learning some more moves for striking. I respect that. But also, you didn't mention this. That's crazy. I find this interesting. You didn't mention this at all. The man's 37. He's getting up there in age. And I know at 37 MMA years, you can still have a great career, but you're pretty much near the end, honestly. If you're not a champion, it's not risk. Your health isn't worth the risk. So he's on a 2-fight skid. And also, I want to say this. Yes, he fought the best at his time during that 11-fight win streak. He fought Pettis and Cerrone. But when he fought Gaethje, top 5 lightweight, he fought Oliveira, another top 5 lightweight. Performance wasn't there. So are these top lightweights giving a problem for Tony? It looks like it, honestly. I bring age into factor. He's 37. He's on a 2-fight skid. Last performances didn't look so well. It's hard to tell. I know there's levels to this. And I look at Beneil Dariush. Well, like you said, he fought Drakkar Klose, got the TKO round 2. He did get tagged in that fight, but you gotta admit, he made a great comeback and he just laid out Klose. It was a great performance. Scott Holtzman, round 1, spinning back fist. When's the last time we seen a spinning back fist knock someone out in the 1st round?
2 weeks ago.
Who?
Or not a spinning back fist, but a spinning elbow.
Spinning back fist. Okay, I didn't say spinning out. Yeah. That's crazy.
Okay.
Now I'll give you this: the split decision win against Diego Ferreira. It wasn't his best performance. A little off night, but I take this in a factor. He's on a 6-fight win streak. He hasn't taken an L since 2018. He has the momentum, and he's not going to waste this opportunity on the co-main event, pay-per-view, sold-out crowd in Texas. You know, he wants to solidify his name as, hey, I'm one of the best lightweights in this division, and if he beats Tony Ferguson, that's a great name to have on your resume. I don't think he's going to waste this opportunity, man. Now, Beneil Dariush's opponents, yes, you can say, well, you compare Tony's opponents, this and that, but not only do I see this way, the Vegas odd makers, Carlos minus 170 favorite. That's kind of a big margin.
I think Vegas is trying to coax you into betting on the wrong guy. I think this is Vegas's a
sleeper.
No, I just think it should be the complete opposite. I think Tony should be the favorite. It's not disrespect from Vegas. It's just sometimes Vegas wants you to buy a certain way so they can win.
They got to make a profit too out of all this. Listen, to answer the question, I'm going Beneil Dariush. Gonna goes to decision. Beneil Dariush, he has great wrestling. He has smart fight IQ. He knows when to use his wrestling. He has great striking too. It's a little bit underrated. It may not be Ferguson elite level where he changes stances all the times. He finds those awkward angles, uses his elbows. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Ferguson lands a crazy elbow and cuts up Daruish. You know, no disrespect to Ferguson, but
that's inevitable. Getting cut by Tony's shoulder,
it's always going to happen.
Blades, by his elbow blades, gonna happen.
But just based on 2 performances, yes, I get it. There's no crowd. He needs a crowd to fight. Like, come on, man. The crowd is going to play a big factor. Yes, he loves it when everyone gets behind him and all these fans screaming and cheering when he does something fucking crazy. That's Tony Ferguson. That's who we all love to see. But Daruish, again, he's not going to waste this opportunity. He's a great fighter. I have him winning by decision. We'll see how it goes. All right. So that's our take on a co-main. Main event. Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. Carlos, you got in this one.
So you got Charles Oliveira. He is a minus 134 favorite against Michael Chandler, former Bellator, I believe 2 or 3 time lightweight champion. He's the plus 110 underdog. So in this fight, you got basically top of the heap for UFC versus top of the heap for Bellator in the lightweight division. You finally have some parity. There's no Khabib. You know, respect to Khabib. He's the lightweight GOAT. But the torch is now going to be passed to whoever wins this fight. This is a very intriguing fight. And this is why. Oliveira, someone who's been coming onto his own. He's on an 8-fight winning streak. In that streak, he has had 5 very impressive submissions, 2 KOs, and 1 impressive decision against Ferguson, where he put out an absolute grappling and striking clinic on one of the legends of the game. Then you have Chandler, who is on a 3-fight winning streak. You know, he's had legendary fights versus Eddie Alvarez, versus Benson Henderson. And he's a short, stocky D1 wrestler who has a lot of power. They call him Iron Mike Chandler for a reason, because he has 1 punch power. that's his nickname, is Iron Mike Chandler.
Okay.
As we saw his first matchup with Hooker, top of the heap in the lightweight division. Dan Hooker, who's a great striker, has the reach advantage, is taller, long and lanky, has power, went through a war with Poirier not too long ago where they went at it and it was a close fight. And Poirier also is regarded as upper echelon of the lightweight division. So he performs amazingly well. He gets the first round KO, displays great movement, great ability to close the distance against the longer, lanky fighter, and he knocks him out with basically 1 punch. So how does this factor into this fight with Oliveira? Oliveira has developed a very, very good striking game. He has a lot of pressure. He has a very good front kick, very good stabbing front kick to the body, to the face. He almost kind of puts his own little spice to it where he jumps and kicks you. He's kind of adopted the same style of Tony Ferguson, where he's just constant pressure throughout the whole fight. Volume. Doesn't have as much power as Chandler does, but without a doubt, he has the volume. On top of that, he's been a black belt for 10 years. Now with Chandler, You know, like I said, he's a D1 wrestler, never been submitted in his career. So is he in danger of that in this fight? Maybe, because at the end of the day, you got the UFC, you got the resume of the UFC talent roster versus the resume of the Bellator talent roster. You know, whose is better in this fight? I don't think this is like the definitive, you know, if Chandler were to win, then, you know, Bellator is obviously his talent pool is better than UFC. No, I'm not necessarily saying that. How would Chandler factor, or rather how he would fare versus, you know, in a title fight versus a UFC top lightweight contender? And man, it's tough. It's a toss-up for me. Even though Oliveira's the favorite, I feel like seeing Chandler's ability to close the distance, to have that one-shot knockout power, you know, he jabs his way in. He can pretty much dictate where the fight will go, if whether they were going to take it on the ground or keep it standing. I expect this really to be a standing fight, because even though he's never been submitted, I don't think he wants to be in Charles Oliveira's very, very efficient guillotine, or possibly getting his back taken, getting, you know, rear naked choke or armbarred by Oliveira. Now, at the same time, Oliveira, like I said, his strategy will be put the pressure on to make sure he doesn't let Chandler get in, to jab in. He's going to be using that front kick to the body a lot and that jab. So I'm betting on the UFC resume on this fight. I'm betting on Oliveira to win this. I think with enough pressure throughout the later rounds, Chandler does have a tendency to wane on, because he explodes early. You know, he's a very in shape guy, but he's got those fast twitch muscles that he's a wrestler. He explodes. So I believe if Oliveira's able to weather that storm at the beginning, you know, maybe in 3th, 4th, or 5th round, he's able to get the TKO on him.
Wow, that's a great take, man. Listen, I don't doubt Michael Chandler's punching power ability. It's crazy to think how quickly he took out Dan Hooker. I mean, like you said before, Dan Hooker went to a war with Dustin Poirier. He's been in a war with Paul Felder. Those guys can't take him out. Here comes, you know, short, stocky Michael Chandler. One punch lays him down and gets the TKO victory. That was a crazy fight to see. Impressive UFC debut. But unfortunately, I don't know Michael Chandler too. I've seen a couple of his highlights. Videos for Bellator. He was a former champ in Bellator.
Leading up to this fight, if you want to see some fights, look up the fights that he had with Eddie Alvarez. Legendary fight. Wars.
I do remember that one. A lot of highlights of Eddie Alvarez. I haven't seen too much of his gas tank. Has he been in a lot of 5-round fights? Does he make it?
As far as his cardio, I mean, he's gone against the best. Like Eddie Alvarez, unfortunately he did lose the second fight in a split decision. But that, like I said, that first fight, that was a complete war where they were going back and forth. He was, even though his tank was basically on E, he was getting body shot to hell. You know, Eddie Alvarez is known for the digging to the body constantly. He was able to get the rear naked choke on him. The very impressive finish in the later rounds.
You said he's gone against the best. And
in Bellator. Yeah.
You know, mad respect. Big props what he's done in Bellator. Did defeat one of the GOATs, Benson Henderson, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy.
But he did get knocked out by Patricio
Pitbull, huh?
Yeah, Pitbull. And
he's been knocked out.
He's been knocked out for sure, and plenty of times actually.
I mean, that's crazy.
Patricio, which is funny because Patricio is almost like a copy of Chandler, short, stocky, very built different guy who is a power puncher and is a wrestler. So that seems to be his glaring weakness, maybe. I don't know.
Look, I won't drag this, but respect to Chandler. However, I have seen a lot of Charles Oliveira fights, and I'll tell you what, man, seeing him mature and develop his striking, he's won me over, honestly, as one of the top lightweights. You know, before when you watch Oliveira fight, like, oh, this guy again, he just has great jiu-jitsu. He's just gonna take you to the ground, get a submission. I don't know why these casuals or cucks out there think submissions aren't fun to watch. I have fun watching these submissions. They're crazy. He almost took out Tony Ferguson first round. How is that not fun? You're a casual, you're a clown, idiot. Nonetheless, giving off, looking at Oliveira's last 2 performances, and again, that's striking. Seeing how he plays, uses his kicks. He has a great body kick. You said he stabs it to the body. Great head kick. He has great cardio. I don't know, man. I think Oliveira's has a little more tool set than Chandler. Now, obviously, Chandler pushes in, applies the pressure, gets him cornered, and lands a big punch. Now, who's to say he doesn't knock this kid out? I like Oliveira in this fight. I think he's a smart guy. He's been wanting a title fight, and now he finally gets his chance. He gets his shot. Oh, he'll be the 2nd Brazilian lightweight champion in the UFC. You know, that just motivates you more. Like, hey, I want this. You know, Chandler, he has a big opportunity as well. Like, hey, I've been Bellator champ. Now I have opportunity to be UFC champ. Best of both organizations. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Oliveira has a great tool set. He has great grappling. I think he submits Chandler round 4.
Submit. Okay.
Yeah.
Mission. That's
Listen,
crazy.
he almost submits Tony round 1. I think he can submit Chandler round 4. I think he plays this fight out a little longer. He might wear Chandler down. Chandler gets tired. He catches him in any submission. Yeah, round 4.
Wow.
Did you say your what round? You said decision.
I said
I know you said Oliveira.
I said TKO, and I didn't pick a round. I just kind of said in the later rounds. I would probably say in the 4th round.
Oh, so we're both agreed 4th round? That's crazy.
Okay, that's it. I'm picking the 3rd round. Okay, I would say the 3rd round. I don't know. It's a close fight, but there's a lot of variables, and then there's a lot of unknown variables. You know, with Chandler, level of competition versus Oliveira, which, yeah, Oliveira's been in the UFC, but a lot of his competition has kind of been canned up until recently.
But also, that amazing fight win streak he's been on.
That's impressive, without a doubt. And
can't knock that down, yeah.
Not only that, you know, you have a fighter, young fighter, who's been developed in the UFC. You don't see that a lot. A lot of times you see guys who work their way up, and then, you know, they're in their 30, 31 prime of their career. Then they get into the UFC, you know, like a la Izzy or, you know, what have you. But this guy developed his game in the UFC, and he was submitting dudes left and right. I almost felt like whenever he was on the card, it was an automatic finish. I felt like that was the reason why they always had Oliveira on the main card, even though when he was not as known and not as big back in the day, because I was like, oh, dude,
it's a submission.
This is why Dana wants him, is because he's an automatic finish no matter what. If you're having a bad card where it's just, you know, kind of a lot of chess matches, a lot of kind of boring fights, you're not getting a lot of finishes, Carlos Oliveira always gets it done.
Yeah, great way to start any card. Can't argue with that.
That being said, that's the video for today. Appreciate you guys watching. And if you could like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. Let us know how you feel about the fights. How do you think they're going to go? What do you think about our critiques? You know, put down in the comment section. Put some questions for us. Like I said in the Canelo recap video, I'm going to try to feature some comments in our next upcoming videos, so we can, you know, talk about some topics that you guys are interested in. Also, follow us on IG and Twitter. You know, IG is handled by Alec. Twitter's handled by me. Constantly active on it. Live tweeting during the fights.
Me too.
Constantly interacting with, you know, people in the MMA community on Twitter. It's really fun to do. I even try to do some live scoring if I can. Probably won't do it for the Chukkagan fight, but that being said, yeah, join us if you can. Can't wait for the next video, and appreciate you guys watching. Take it easy. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.